again, there's in any industry, it doesn't matter what industry we're talking about, computers or pest control or janitorial or heating and air conditioning, there is a large portion of business owners in every single business that are not making any money. You take the technology industry, for example, where billing $125 a man hour is not at all an unusual billing rate. There are plenty of guys not making any money in that business. There are plenty of guys that could go get jobs for $80,000 a year that as business owners make 40. Does that mean the computer industry is bad? No, most all of us know or have at least heard the stories of all the guys making tons of money in tech. Well, there's also a ton of guys in tech that are making no money, and there's a massive failure rate on tech companies. But that doesn't mean the tech industry's bad. Same's true for lawn care. Just know that in every industry, the majority of the marketplace is not overly successful. My theory is that the majority of business owners in America would be better off just having jobs. They would then actually be able to maintain a healthy family lifestyle. They'd actually be able to pay attention to their kids and their wives, and they'd make more money. And the reason that's the case is because they're making some mistakes on building their business. And why do most of us make mistakes on building our business? It's because what we do is we just go copy what everybody else is doing, and we work on our businesses, and we don't spend the effort to read and study at night. We don't get in business networking group with entrepreneurs that are at the next level above us that can give us advice and help us. We don't go to the seminars. We don't study. We don't learn about finance. We don't learn about marketing. It's because we basically try to get in business, and maybe we work an incredible number of hours, but we almost treat it like a job. Being a business owner is way more than a job. If you just want to go work 9 to 5 or 8 to 6 or whatever your hours are and come home and watch TV, you don't want to be in business. You want a job. If you want to be a business owner, then you go out and you work really hard, and you do all the stuff that nobody else is willing to do, and you don't try to live a fancy lifestyle, and you stay out of debt as much as you can, and you buy the marketing books and the finance books, and periodically you bring in a consultant when you're confused that's an expert in a certain part of the business that you know nothing about. You stretch yourself and you hire some employees that know things you don't know, and then you study those things you don't know, so you make sure you made a good hiring decision. And you at every level you get out of the field, and at every level of the business you have, as I've said a million times, you've got new lessons to learn. So if you want to go from $500,000 to $1 million, you've got to change something about yourself. And then from $1 million to $2 million, there's some new lesson you've got to learn. You've got to be a new person. You start out doing the work, and then quickly you get out of the field, so now you need to learn to be a decent manager of your laborers in the field. And then when you take it to the next level, you've got to be a manager of your core team, the 3 or 4 guys you're surrounding yourself with that manage all of your laborers. And then when you get above that level, there's a whole nother step. You've got to have a whole new skill set. And as your business grows, at all the different revenue levels, you've got to have a completely new skill set. So you are constantly learning and studying if you want to grow your business. If you refuse to do that, then you're going to end up with a mediocre business, and you're going to be disappointed in the results. And that's where you hear about so many of the industry veterans that are frustrated. Now, that doesn't mean there are not legitimate problems. There are economic problems. There's cycles in business. So my business may be running fantastic for 3 or 4 years, and then something may happen in it, and my profit margins may slip. Or everything could be going great, and then one of my great employees has a personal family tragedy and they leave the company. There's a million things that could happen to a great business owner that are setbacks, and at a period of his business career he's negative and down. But to be a constant pessimist, to be constantly down on the industry, is a sign of a bigger problem. So all of us are going to go through struggles, and you as a business owner, you're going to go through the same struggles. So my point here is to be extremely careful where you're getting your information from. Realize that a large portion of all business owners are not overly successful. They would be making just as much money if they went and worked for somebody. So there's barely any reason for them to even be in business, because there's not much hope their businesses are ever going to get better, because they're not reading, studying, going to seminars, and learning from experts. And so how can anything in their lives and their business possibly change? So again, remember, that's the majority of the marketplace. That's not you, so you don't need to listen to that stuff, because you're going to do it completely differently. And so I wouldn't be scared. The other great lesson that I've learned is that the vast majority of business owners and employees look out into the marketplace, into other industries, and they say, oh man, that other industry's so much better. I'm in the lawn mowing business. This lawn mowing thing's, this isn't a good business. Those guys in the fertilization weed control side of the business, that's a much better business. Oh, those guys in pest control, that is a much better business. Or those irrigation guys, they get a great billing rate. I should be in irrigation. This lawn mowing thing's completely overrated. Or to take it a step further, you're in the lawn care industry and you look out and you say, those tech guys, man, if only I knew how to program and I could build a software system and it would be easy and I could just write a program one time and I'd make millions of dollars. Or you're in janitorial and you say, boy, it'd be so much better if I was a plumber. They get a much better billing rate, and I get to work indoors. Whatever. You hear it. The employees will think it. They'll all think that somebody else has a better job in the company. Business owners think another industry is better, that their industry is just terrible. I hear it over and over again. Don't buy into that stuff either. I told you in the very beginning that I've been in all these different industries and done all these different things, and that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned, is that there is advantages from one industry to another, and there's advantages from one position to another, such as moving from a laborer to a manager to a marketing guy to a sales guy. Yes, there are built-in advantages to different businesses and industries and positions, but they're not generally so incredibly overwhelming that whatever you're doing right now is horrendous. It's generally not going to be that much better. If I've learned anything in business, the bigger your business comes and the more you move up the ranks, the more responsibility you have. The higher you move up in your business, the more and more your job becomes one of solving problems and handling complaints and frustrations. The bigger the business you have, the problems escalate themselves. You don't hear about all the little wins quite the same. What you hear about is the employee that ripped off the company, the employee that just left that was key to the business, the huge customer that brings in a lot of revenue that's irate and threatening to fire you, the customer that may not renew their agreement, the legal ramifications of being a business owner, the lawsuits, all those. That's what you deal with as you get bigger and bigger. So any idea that it gets easier is nonsense. It gets easier when you cash out and sell, and then what I've pretty much witnessed is most of the guys that cash out and sell are bored out of their minds and wish they'd never sold their business, or burned through all their money in 4 years and then have to start all over. So kind of going off on a tangent here, but my point is, I tell you all this to want you to be very, very sensitive to what you listen to. Your focus should be on paying attention to guys that are doing it and that have done it. Guys that haven't done it, guys that are complaining, are not who you listen to. You want to look for all the guys that are successful, all the guys doing it, all the guys making money, all the guys that are further down the road than you. Don't listen to anybody at the same, or you can take certain things from a person that's at the same level as you are, but for the most part, the big advice needs to come from somebody that's ahead of you, somebody that's already done it. So unless that person meets that criteria, there's somebody that's really done it, not a guy that read a book about it and's reciting it to you, but a guy that's actually done it. Unless it's that person, don't give their advice too much credit, and look for the guys in the business that have done it successfully. Why would you listen to a guy in the business that's doing it unsuccessfully? And do you really buy into the concept that most industries in the world are bad and there's no money to be made? That's just silly. Guys are getting rich in the junkyard business as well as they're getting rich in the technology business. People get rich grooming dogs. I mean, you can get rich anywhere. You've got to know what you're doing and do the right thing. So pay attention to the guys that are doing the right things. Ignore everybody else. Why would you model their lack of success? So to answer your question,